Hello again. I'm aware that some men like to dress in women's clothing, and that on occasion this desire can go even further and become, what shall I say, a pathological drive to transform a male body into a female one. This is why some biological males will choose to wear bras in women's swimming costumes. I get that, and I have no objection whatsoever to anybody indulging in such fantasies. It's harmless enough to other people. In other words, looking at the thumbnail to this video, I can easily understand why a man might wish to dress in that way. What is less clear to me, though, is why commercial companies would pay men to do this and then use them as icons for an advertising campaign. This is odd. 20 years ago, the manufacturers of women's clothing in Britain and the United States invariably used white women to model and advertise their products. I don't think that anybody would disagree with that statement. Now, a big company like Adidas is instead using a black man to display women's swimming costumes. As I say, I get what the man himself might gain from this. He's being paid to indulge a personal proclivity. Nice work if you can get it. But what does the company get out of it? There is certainly a case to be made that nearly all the women used to model products 20 or 30 years ago were white, and that this neglected a portion of the population. There may well be something in this, although the fact is it is almost always black people used in advertisements in Britain rather than Indians or Pakistanis, who are more numerous, certainly deserves remark. But why use men to advertise women's clothes? This is more puzzling. The easiest explanation is that being trans is something of a craze now, especially among young people, and that by showing somebody with obviously male genitalia wearing a women's swimming costume, the company is showing that they are with it and down with the youth. If this is the reason, then in a few years' time, when that particular fad has ended, those images are going to be hugely embarrassing to the companies concerned. They will look hopelessly outdated and be held up as an example of how it is possible to follow some popular delusion a little too far. What is slightly puzzling, though, is that when all is said and done, these things can surely only appeal to a minority of those in the market for a swimming costume. At least half of those looking at them, that is to say women, are going to be put off and even offended at the sight of a man wearing a swimming costume designed for women. Then, too, the other half of the population, men, are likely to be less than enchanted to see a scrawny man posing in women's clothing. The same fellow who is used to advertise this swimming costume in the thumbnail of this video is also modelling dresses and skirts. There is a definite yuck factor here which is likely to kick in. I'm no advertising executive, but I really cannot think that it makes sense to alienate almost all men and all women in this way. The reaction to the recent campaigns featuring a biological male advertising both bras and a popular brand of beer suggests that this yuck factor is indeed a thing. Sales of the beer have yet to recover. It has been suggested that there is a deeper motive behind this promotion of both black people and also men dressing or presenting as women, and that is that the whole thing is part of some conspiracy to change Western society and alter our values and perspective of the world. In other words, it might be part of a carefully orchestrated move to make us think differently and discourage us from embracing traditional ideas about sexuality, marriage, childbirth, and so on, as well as encouraging us subliminally to accept that black people will soon form the majority population in Britain and America. I will leave it to others to evaluate such ideas.